Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. On this video, we are going to be traveling through Claypool, Indiana. Now, Claypool, Indiana is located towards the northeastern region of Indiana. It is located 46 miles west of Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne is going to be your largest. Fort Wayne is going to be the metropolitan area closest to Claypool. And you're also, now as far as other communities that are closer in, you're 25 miles west of Columbia City, Indiana, and you're 8.8 miles south of Warsaw. Now, a lot of people that live out here in Claypool, when it comes to many of your basic amenities, such as shopping, places to take your vehicle for service, and things of that sort, a lot of times you're going to probably have to drive into Warsaw for many of those type of services. Now, there's another city that's, well, never mind. Yeah, you're going to most likely have to drive into Warsaw for many of those services, like, car services, grocery shopping, or what have you. And of course, for entertainment, your best bet is going to be to go into Fort Wayne. So, Claypool has a population of 396 people. As of the 2020 census, Claypool has lost 8.1% of its population. The population as of the 2010 census used to be 431 people. Now, the population here for the last, I want to say for the last 3 or 4 census has been up and down. Now, during the 2010 census, the population grew by 38.6%. Because back in 2000, the population used to be 311 people. But as of now, the population is declining. Now, for those of you that might be interested, here's a brief history about Claypool. Claypool was an important transportation hub for the nickel plate railroad lines. Okay, now Claypool also has a little bit of history when it comes to Indiana basketball. Claypool is the home of Judy Warren, a former basketball player that was Miss Basketball in 1976, and home of Kevin Ault. I think that's how I pronounce his last name, A-U-L-T, who was Indiana Mr. Basketball in 1996. They both played basketball for the Warsaw Community High School. Judy was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2002. So this city does have a little bit of history when it comes to Indiana basketball, like I said a second ago. Now, if you're looking to reside here in Claypool, Claypool does have a little bit of crime. It has a tad bit. Now, when it comes to violent crime, the violent crime is well below national average. Now, when it comes to property crime is not bad. Property crime is 12% above national average. But 12% is not bad compared to many other cities I've driven through for this channel. And your racial demographics are 87.5% white, 1.9% Native American, and 6.1% Hispanic. And if you're new to the channel, when I do racial demographics, any demographic that's under 1%, I typically don't mention. Now, when it comes to your housing prices out here, and I'm going to tell you right now, these numbers are not the most accurate. Now, if you can find anything out here for rent, they're saying that the median rent price is $640 to $1,280 a month. And they're saying that the median home price here is $192,000. Now, here's why I say, now I would say, especially when it comes to your median home price of $192,000. Here's why that number is not accurate. Now, one thing I noticed is the majority of the houses that have recently been sold have not been sold in town. The majority of the houses have either been sold outside of town, like out in the country area, or they've been sold in the newer section of town, kind of more on the outskirts. But when you go into the actual town core of Claypool, as you guys will see on this video, Claypool, I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful or talk bad about Claypool, because, I mean, it is a nice, quiet town. At least that's the impression I got. However, let's be real. As you look around at the houses in town, you will see that the town of Claypool is not it's not the type of small town that you would purchase a home at $192,000. Now, if you're buying something out in the country that maybe it might sit on some acreage, yeah, that's a whole different ball game. Or if you're buying something that's newer, which when you leave the city, like when you leave the city and you're traveling 13. I want to say if you're traveling 13 south, you'll run into a small neighborhood to where the houses are going to be much newer than the houses that are closer into the core of town. Now, when you run into that neighborhood where the houses are newer, most likely those are the houses that have sold recently, and that's the reason for the median home price of $192,000. And secondly, if you're looking to buy a house here in Claypool, your best bet is to not rely on the MLS. I guess if you hire a realtor, they might, obviously they will have access to the MLS, and maybe they might have a house or two on the MLS. But my suggestion is do not rely entirely on the MLS. And definitely don't rely on websites like Realtor.com or Zillow. Because one thing I notice as I drive through town here is there's people that have houses for sale, and they're selling their home. I mean, they're not using the MLS to sell their house. They're selling their house on their own. Because there are like 2 to 3 houses that, as I was driving through, they had a for sale sign on the window. Now, I will say there are some houses here that are very much a fixer-upper type of deal. So some of the houses I'm describing, they're older fixer-upper houses. So if you got some handy person skills, it could be a good deal for you. And I'm not sure what the prices are, but I would imagine that the prices aren't going to be too expensive. Now, another thing I want to point out about this town is, and I guess this is kind of my opinion, but then again, as you look at my video, you can see what you see for yourself. But the town is a little ran down. Some of the roads are a little rough. Now, as I've told you guys on a couple of previous videos I made of small towns similar to this one, if you missed those videos, I'm going to tell you again on this video. When it comes to looking for a small town to live, especially if you're looking to buy a property that sits on a decent sized lot, like when I say decent, I'm talking about 2/10 of an acre or larger. You see, look at this right here. See, oh, this road is in terrible shape. But anyways, when you see a town like this, to where the town is a little rough around the edges, and when I say rough around the edges, I'm not talking necessarily the people, I'm talking the appearance of the town. Because around here, you got houses that are abandoned and ran down. You got some of these streets that are in rough condition. So when you come through a town like this, don't let that spook you. Don't let that scare you from buying a house in the community. Now, I understand if you're not familiar with the community, you're gonna look at the appearance of the town, and if it looks a little rough around the edges, you may not want to buy in that particular community. And I'm here to let you know that when it comes to small towns here in Indiana, now if I was driving through small towns in Alabama, my message would be a little different. But for the most part, small towns here in Indiana, some of them do look a little rough, but don't let that scare you. Because sometimes in towns like this, you might be able to grab yourself a house at a fairly decent discount. Now, this town is losing people, which can actually work in favor if you're a buyer. Now, as you guys, as I was able to see on realtor.com, and again, don't rely on it completely. I mean, as far as any houses that were for sale here in town, if I can recall, I only saw a small handful of houses that were for sale in this town. So right now, right now, at least on realtor.com, I really didn't see anything for sale here in town. Now again, I did see 2 or 3 houses that are for sale, to where the person is selling the house on their own. They're not using no type of listing. They're not using Zillow, realtor.com, or any of that type of stuff. So your best bet is, if you're looking to buy a house here, your best bet is to jump in your vehicle and drive out here yourself, like what I'm doing, and just drive up and down the street and just be on the lookout for sale signs. Now I'm going to give you guys my 2 cents about this town. Now, if I was in the market if I was in the market and I was still looking for a small town to live in this region of Indiana, I would not rule out this town. Again, the town is a little rough around the edges, but just off of first impression, I like this town. It's quiet. It's small. It's quiet. And I think, well, it's kind of, I don't want to, I mean, when it comes to the housing here, like I said, the numbers are not accurate. Now, I would say if you're in the market for a fixer-upper, this would be a perfect place to buy yourself a fixer-upper and fix it up. Now, whether you're going to be able to fix it up and flip it and make a decent amount of money, I don't know. But if you're looking to reside here with yourself, your family, you're looking to buy a house for personal purposes, and you did not mind purchasing a fixer-upper, there are some fixer-uppers here that you can buy for probably well below market value. But yeah, I would say, me personally, if I would not rule out this town, I really wouldn't. I think this town is worth a solid look. And that's my 2 cents about the town. Now, I did go on Niche to see what other people thought about this town. I only saw one comment. It was a 4-star. And basically what they stated was they like this town because it's a small town. And they feel that the people here are friendly. So that's going to do it for my commentary. So again, come out here, check it out for yourself. I think this town is worth a look. Don't rule out this town because it might look a little rough around the edges. Alright folks, that's going to be all for the commentary. If you like this video, if you like what I do on this channel and you want to support me, all you gotta do is give videos like this a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you're already subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed, because sometimes YouTube likes to unsubscribe people. Alright folks, stay blessed. I'll catch you guys on the next one.